So I also want to know, when you moved from India to Canada, was it like you always wanted to move out of India, or you really just wanted maybe a better life for yourself and your family?
Well, I moved out of India in early 2019.
Okay.
So there is no specific reason in terms of a better life as such, generally,
Mm-hmm.
because I was doing well, and I was working in a city called Bangalore, which is like the IT hub in India.
Okay.
And I was doing well for myself. But I always had that hunger to do something more, to achieve
Exactly.
something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I feel you.
So I was probably trying to explore options to challenge myself in terms
Mm-hmm.
of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I did not want that kind of a platonic growth.
Yeah.
I wanted something exponential.
Exactly.
And that's not just to do with monetary success or career success as such. There is more to do with a personal success in terms of exploring different sides of myself.
Exactly.
And I believe moving out of India in some ways helped me do that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also so much about getting out of your comfort zone, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
You can see that
yeah,
I'm like, I feel it when you say these
yeah,
things. But
yeah, yeah.
I also remember when I decided to move from Ghana. I mean, I was doing okay. I
Yeah,
was working in a financial technological firm,
that's right.
and I was customer success. I was leading a team,
Okay.
managing the whole team. I
Mm-hmm.
represent the
Mm-hmm.
team on the management level
That's great.
and
Yeah.
all that. So it was, if anybody knows me, they're like, but you are doing okay for yourself.
Yeah,
But you see, for me as an
I know.
individual, I wanted more.
I
It
get it.
meant it wasn't just about financial,
Yeah.
like maybe your salary or
Yes.
what you earn and
Yeah.
all that. But I felt like there is more to exploring for myself than just maybe my career or anything. So coming to Canada also really helped me. And sometimes it's very important that we go out of our comfort
Comfort
zone.
zones.
In our comfort zone is very okay. Our
Yeah.
families are there, our parents are
Yeah.
there. Like, you have everything at your disposal. But
Yeah.
when you move out and you learn from other continent, other culture, and you learn, like once you learn, they learn from you. There is a lot of development
Yes.
that engulfs you, the individual, within that whole
Yeah.
journey. I always say this, that wow, that's the cruise ship.
Yeah. We'll have to do this again.
Yeah,
Okay.
when you move out of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
it will amaze you how much, in terms of value, you can feel that tangibility for yourself. So I really, really, really agree with that.
Exactly. I mean, you have to know yourself really
Hmm.
well and allow for yourself to test different scenarios, and that's when you know what you're capable of.
Yeah.
And that's important, I
Yeah,
believe. Yeah.
that's
And
very
that's
true.
what leads to growth, that's what leads to progress. Yeah.
Great. And I also want to know, you have a family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
I do.
Do you mind telling us about them? You don't have to be specific, but
Yeah.
let's just know about your family.
I immigrated with my family to Canada,
Okay.
and I have a toddler, and my wife was a human resources business partner while she was in
Okay.
India. She worked with a couple of ID firms there, and then we decided to move in here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have a toddler as well, who's a 3-year-old,
Okay.
and yeah, it takes a lot of our time and attention in many
Yeah, I
ways.
guess
Yeah,
that's what makes it worthwhile.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And back
So,
home, like you have family, like your parents
yeah,
are
my
back home.
parents are back home. I have a younger brother, so all of them are back home. And
Okay.
yeah, they're doing.
India, you have a very unique culture.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to marry outside of your culture? Because I met a few Indians and I was really interested in another Punjabi guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
the Punjabi group. Is it
Okay.
a group or
Okay.
an ethnic?
Yeah.
Like
It's
the
a.
Punjabi, they tie their hair
Yeah.
and they don't marry out of their culture.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
I really am interested in the Indian culture. If you can like share that with us, it would
Okay,
be
I'd be
exciting.
glad to do that. I mean, yes, you're right in some ways, because typically, you would have heard of arranged marriages a
Yeah.
lot, where your parents kind of look for a spouse for you, or
Yeah.
your or life partner. That's,
Hmm.
I mean, from in many parts of the world, I think that's in some ways unacceptable even,
Yeah.
but that's a norm in India.
But in
And
Africa, it used to happen because my parents experienced that.
oh, experience that
Yeah.
probably. But things are
But not our
changing.
generation.
Yeah. I mean, even India back home now, I think things are changing.
Yeah.
Which means people are exploring their lives themselves and
Mhm.
navigating their lives in the way they want to.
Yeah.
So this part is changing, but I think it's changing slowly.
Okay.
So you're right in the sense that most Indian families are close knit. There's a lot of collective decision making.
Yeah.
Most important decisions of your lives aren't taken without really consulting your parents and your relatives
Wow.
in certain cases. So you take your parents a lot, you ask them their opinions, and sometimes evaluate stuff. So that's what used to happen. But like I said, now things are changing.
Yeah.
So people marry outside their own ethnicity in most cases,
Okay.
outside their own cultures, and from different provinces, even. So that's kind of gaining traction now.
Yeah.
People are more open in many ways now.
Great. Which other thing makes Indians unique?
I think Indians have a very strong work ethic. You would recognize that
Yes.
too. Indians have a
Work
very
ethic.
strong work ethic.
Mhm.
They are very dedicated when it comes to work, and they're serious about that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what sets them apart. You see a lot of Indian CEOs now, and if it had to boil down to just one important thing, I believe it would be work ethic. Of course, there's a lot of talent and there's a lot of good learning systems in there and all of that. But I personally feel that it's work ethic that trumps all these qualities.
Right. And then do you have any downsides to I'll also share my observations. That's really interesting to note. Anything that you wish they didn't have or they didn't have to prove?
I'm not sure if I can pin down that one part, but then I'd say, of course, so everybody has areas of improvement, and you've got to like analyze your own strengths and weaknesses in many ways. And I think Indians, in some ways, I would say, are not very experimentative.
Okay.
So they're very conservative in many cases. So that is one of those biggest limitations, I would say.
Okay.
But otherwise, I can't really think of something very specific at the moment.
I've met a few Indians, and like you said, they have great work ethic. Like most of the people that
most
I've
of the
seen,
people. So there are exceptions always.
there are exceptions. Not like everybody is,
exactly.
but the ones I've seen have great work ethic. And they are very, I don't know how to say this. It's like they're very goal oriented.
Focused in terms of what
they're very focused. And they have that collectivity. That's something I admire about you guys. Very solid connectivity. They don't mind living in the house with 10 of their friends just to save money, and it's admirable. It's admirable.